think the first one that really came to mind was probably one of the first ones I could remember at least was our game against Norwich in the 9-10 season. It was a 3-1 win with 2 pens, and then their keeper got sent off. I mean, that was probably one of the first that I can remember at least. But then, I mean, you're looking at for atmosphere, we had a Friday night game against Spurs in the FA Cup. That was a big one. Obviously, we lost 7-0. So towards the end of the game, wasn't great. But at the start of it, I mean, you're looking at a 12,500 attendance for that game. That was something properly special under the lights, at least before kickoff. And then, I mean, you can't look away from that Forest Green game. I'm sure the playoff first leg was on a Friday. 1-0 win, 8,500 attendance. You've got a red card, a goal from basically the halfway line. And again, it being against Forest Green, one of our sort of bogey teams around that time. I mean, you can't really get better than that, other than we should have scored 2 or 3.
Yeah, no, I love the Friday night games. There's only one that I know for a fact was a Friday night that always jumps out massively for me. And it was I called it the Graham Branch Portsmouth game. Other people might remember it as the Ivano Benetti. But that was just a brilliant game. And that's back when it was just always fun going to Prenton Park. Always fun. You know, and by that point, we were no longer the promotion chasing Tranmere in what at the time was Division 1, what's now the Championship. We were the mid-table version of Tranmere. And can't remember if it was 97, 98, 99, around about then. But yeah, Friday night, topsy-turvy game, went back and forth. Tranmere won it 4-3. Graham Branch scored one, carrying the ball from his own half. He scored a goal after 40 seconds. And then, yeah, game went back and forth. And then Ivano Benetti scored a winner in the 90th minute. That's always stands out because I remember that being a Friday. I was excited about that. There has been other games, you know, and the Macclesfield one I remember quite vividly because I only just got back in time for that game because I was away with the family and my missus was delighted to find out I was driving home to watch 11 fellas try and kick a ball around. It's just always a nice atmosphere. It's different for a Tuesday. You know, Tuesdays nighttime games in general are a better atmosphere, but Friday nights, you know, you tend to get a better atmosphere because, you know, more people turn up. It's the weekend. And you know you're getting that head start on the rest of the division. You know, that this weekend more than ever before, you're kind of looking at this as a real chance to say, right, okay, bang, there's our points on the board. What can the rest of the division do to catch up now? So, yeah, great atmosphere. It's a bit of a tradition. But it also gives you that little bit of an advantage as well on the rest of the league.
It certainly does. The game you talk of was on the 4th of October 1996, 4-3 win over Portsmouth Branch, getting 2, as you say. Gary Jones got one, even Ivano Benetti as well. Amazingly, only 5,001 there for that game, which is a surprisingly low attendance for a Friday night fixture. My first Friday night game was the next season. It was a 2-1 victory over QPR, 15th of August, 1997, 7,467 at Prenton Park. I remember it very well because, one, it was the first time I got a kit. I remember my dad taking me into the club shop, the old club shop that was across the road behind the cowshed stand at that point, and buying me a shirt, which I've still got somewhere. Definitely doesn't fit. Might fit my daughter now, but it definitely doesn't fit me anymore, given I'd only have been 7 years old at the time. But Tranmere won the game 2-1. David Kelly got the first goal and Lee Jones got the second. I think I might have had a hot dog that night as well, which would have been probably my first and last attempt at a Willow Catering hot dog, given that they're not necessarily to my taste. But that would have been my first Friday night game. And there have been many, many since. I remember the Ronnie Moore era in particular. His first spell had quite a few really enjoyable Friday night games. And one that always stands out for me was a 1-0 win over Bristol City in, I think, the 2007-8 season when John Mullen scored on a Friday night. And it put Tranmere top of League One at that time. And it goes back to that thing you say, Tom, of it gives you an advantage over the teams you play, the teams around you, if you play the day before and manage to get the points on the board. And there'll be other fans listening to this who can pick out some other Friday night games that they thoroughly enjoyed. Plenty will remember, not that I do because I was far too young, but there was a 5-2 win over West Ham in the early 90s that some say was absolute peak Tranmere, the best they ever played, their best performance. I know Tony Coombs who was a great historian of Tranmere in particular, picks that one out as one of his favourite ever Rovers matches. And there have been others as well. Like Macclesfield one stands out. You pick out, Tom, as well, because it was such an important win at a time when Tranmere were just teetering a little bit in terms of which way they were going to go in that League Two season, as to whether they were going to be able to push up towards the playoffs or whether it was going to be a kind of season of mid-table mediocrity, and that win kind of set them on a little bit of a path. I think they'd beaten Lincoln 3 days earlier on a Tuesday night at Prenton Park when Harvey Gilmore came on and changed the game at half-time as well. So some great Friday night memories, some really, really good ones. And hopefully this Friday is another. I'm taking my daughter. It's going to be her first Friday night experience, and I've been bigging it up to her, saying how much Friday night football is better than Saturday because it's under the lights and the crowd always seem more up for it. And yeah, just hope it's a great occasion. I used to ask Mickey about it when Mickey Mellon was here, and he said Friday night is Prenton night. It's the night when the fans, they come out of work, they've had a hard week, they get themselves down to Prenton Park and they enjoy themselves. And let's hope this week can be the same.